For more, I want to bring in CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes. Hi there, Nancy. So in terms of the price tag, Senator Joe Manchin says he's at $1.5 trillion, but the president is still saying the plan will be in the $2 trillion range. Do we know what the roughly $500 billion is that they can't seem to agree on?
It doesn't have to do, Elaine, with any one particular policy. Basically, they're arguing about the top line number here. Joe Manchin is saying he's not willing to spend any more than $1.5 trillion. Within that range, he's happy to go in a bunch of different directions, but he doesn't want the overall package to cost any more than $1.5 trillion. The White House and Democrats argue they've already come down a whole bunch from their original number, which was $3.5 trillion. They're now down to $2 trillion, and they believe that at the very least, Manchin and Senator Sinema of Arizona should meet them either in the middle or somewhere closer to $2 trillion. But the problem is that Manchin and Sinema are kind of holding all the cards at this point. They know that without their support, Democrats don't have the votes to pass this package, which is why Manchin has really been holding firm here, and at least publicly has been saying, as recently as today, once again, that he's at $1.5 trillion and he's not moving.
So speaking of Senator Kyrsten Sinema, has she or the White House said why she was not at that Sunday breakfast with the president? And where exactly does she stand in negotiations?
It's not clear that she was invited to that breakfast. The White House hasn't said that. But all along, the president, when he is sitting in a room negotiating, he's much more likely to be sitting in a room with Joe Manchin than with Kyrsten Sinema. There is a comfort level there. Manchin and the president have worked together in the past. And also, there's a sense when you talk to aides here at the White House that the two men understand each other better, and that if they can get Joe Manchin on board and they understand his set of desires very clearly, then Kyrsten Sinema is not going to sort of stick around as the lone holdout. She will probably come along when Manchin does. And because in some ways her concerns diverge from Manchin's, it doesn't always help to have the two of them in the room at the same time. They have different concerns. So the president sat down with Manchin, has been very careful for the most part to praise both Manchin and Sinema when he has spoken about them publicly, although he did, at the end of last week, show a little bit of frustration and say out loud at a town hall that basically the entire Democratic Party is in agreement on a lot of these big-ticket items. It's only Manchin and Sinema who feel differently at this point.
So when it comes to how the legislation will be paid for, we know that Senator Sinema is not on board with the tax increases for corporations and the wealthy. So what other options are being considered?
So what she opposes is an across-the-board increase in the tax rate for the top income earners. So instead, Democrats are looking at a variety of other options to raise that revenue that are all a little more complicated. For instance, on the individual side, you're talking about things like a surtax on assets belonging to billionaires, which, as you can imagine, can raise quite a bit of money, but it obviously affects a smaller group of people. That's something that she might be able to get on board with. When it comes to corporate taxes, again, she doesn't favor an across-the-board increase in the corporate tax rate, but she might be okay with an across-the-board minimum tax rate. So these are profitable companies, and we've all heard about this time and time again, that aren't paying anything in taxes. So imposing instead a minimum tax to say, at the very least, profitable companies are going to be paying a certain amount in taxes. So they're trying to figure out, A, if that's something that she could be comfortable with, and B, if they can raise as much money with solutions like those that they could have with something much more simple, like just hiking the individual tax rate for the highest earners in this country.
Well, Nancy, the social spending plan contains provisions to help address climate change. Is that part of the reason why President Biden is pushing to have a deal in place by Thursday when he leaves for his European trip, which of course includes that global climate change conference?
It's one of two big reasons, certainly. First of all, the president is going to be going to this climate change conference in Scotland. He's going to be pushing other countries to make big changes to their use of fossil fuels. And so there's a very deep desire on the part of this White House, on the part of Democrats more broadly, to be able to go there and say, look, here's what I'm doing. Here are the changes that I'm about to pass in Congress in the United States. You should do the same. It gives him a lot more leverage, especially when we're coming off of 4 years of a very different administration that took a very different view, withdrew from the Paris Climate Accords, and so now you've got the Biden administration trying to make the case that they are taking a much different tack. So that's one reason that they'd like to get a big win, seal this deal before he leaves on Wednesday. The other big reason, frankly, is that they'd like him to get a win before he leaves town for a little over a week. It's been a rough few months for the president, and we've seen his approval ratings slip downward pretty significantly, and Democrats are hoping that he can leave town on a high note by announcing that he does have at least a deal on a framework for this big social spending plan, and then they can fill in the rest of the details and hold a vote, even possibly when he's overseas.
Finally, Nancy, President Biden talked about physical infrastructure on Monday during his stop in New Jersey. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says that vote could come this week. Does the White House share that optimism?
Well, they're all for it if Pelosi can get the support she needs to hold that vote in the House. It all depends on how ironclad an agreement is between the White House and Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, if it happens at all. There are still many progressives in the House who are unwilling, even if they support that bipartisan infrastructure deal and support it very wholeheartedly, they are unwilling to hold a vote on that measure, which they know has a lot of support, was even partially written by Manchin and Sinema, unless Manchin and Sinema sign off on this other big aspect of the president's agenda. They do not want to lose that leverage. So yes, this was almost Nancy Pelosi saying to Senators Manchin and Sinema, hey, I know you really want us to pass this. All you need to do is sign on the dotted line with President Biden on this other piece of his agenda, and then we will go ahead and do it. But she doesn't need to be held to that. Certainly the Democrats in the party, if they don't pass it this week, they'll be just as happy to pass it next week. But they'd love to get a deal on both of these items sooner rather than later.
All right, CBS News Chief White House Correspondent Nancy Cortez. Nancy, always good to have you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Elaine.